When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Those are the words of Sherlock Holmes, and today we're looking at Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective. Good day and welcome to Dungeon Miser. So we're looking at Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective today. And in Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective, like the Consulting Detective, you are trying to solve a mystery. So you're given a case and you try to solve it. You are given the story just like you would in a Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story where you can get clues, but then you can also use, with the aid of the directory, a map, and you get a newspaper from the day of the crime. Now this game doesn't seem that complicated because there aren't a lot of moving parts. There's no board, there are no little meeples to move around or anything like that, and you're technically not playing against anyone other than Holmes. The way you play against Holmes is, Holmes always gets 100% for his score, and that's because he solves the crime in however many clues it takes him. So if it takes him 4 clues or 5 clues or 6 clues. So whatever amount he solves it in, he gets 100%. So what you want to do is try and solve it in fewer clues so you can get a higher score than Holmes. This is not easy. In fact, the first time I played it, there were 2 of us and we played it. We didn't even bother trying to beat Holmes. We just made sure we tried to solve the crime, and we even got that wrong. We were close, but hey, wasn't the killer. So anyway, on the second turn, or the second case that we did, we tried to beat Holmes. We did pretty well. We didn't beat him, but that's the rub. You're trying to beat Sherlock Holmes. And as we know, Sherlock Holmes is a smart little cookie. So in this game, you're given a case, and you and up to 7 more players can try to solve this case. Now that seems like a lot of people. You can play it in teams, but you've only got so many resources. You've got, the people you can visit, you've got the newspaper. The directory doesn't give you any information other than where to find things on the map. And then you've got the original story that has the crime that you're trying to solve. So that's a lot to share. I found playing it with 2 people was really good because there were resources for each of us, and we definitely had to take notes, pen and paper, and write things down. You have to grind your brain to figure these out. Now, some people would find this very frustrating. I kind of find it a little frustrating, but also really interesting. I really like figuring out puzzles like this, so this is really my bag. I really dig this. Plus, the Sherlock Holmes theme is consistent through the whole game. It just drips with theme. If you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes, this has it all. It's written in the style of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. It has a lot of the same characters from the novels, and like, you really get into the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle world here. In fact, I like playing it in the evening or even at night, and it makes it feel a little more spooky. But if your bag is more, like meeple allocation or, Ameritrash games where you're just getting tons of cards and moving pieces, this is not that kind of game. This game is definitely not for everybody. This game is for people who like to rack their brains trying to solve a riddle. And that's what it is. It is a riddle. Now, that being said, in the box you get 10 cases. So you're only going to get to play this game 10 times, unless you're like me and you can go back to case number 1 after you've done number 8 and you probably forgot what happened anyway. But yes, there is a finite amount of play to this game. 10 cases, that means you can play it 10 times. Now, you'd say to yourself, what's the point of getting a game if you can only play it 10 times? It sounds ridiculous, right? Like, why would I drop, I think it's like somewhere around $40 or $45 for this game that I'm only going to get to play 10 times? Well, if you look at it this way, 10 times, say $45 for the game, that's only $4.50 each time you play it, and it says average play time is 1 to 2 hours. It's more 2 hours. If you're doing it an hour, then I salute you, but 2 hours is probably the minimum. But I don't feel ripped off paying $45 to get these plays. I thought, it'd be like, you know what, we're going to rip through this in a couple days. That has not been the case. We have not ripped through this in a couple days. You need time in between cases to let your brain heal. So, do I recommend it? I wholeheartedly recommend it, with the caveat that make sure that this is the style of game that you are going to dig. If you don't like solving riddles, or mysteries, or enjoy that kind of thing, this probably isn't the game for you. And if you want to try it, maybe you should try borrowing someone else's copy or finding someone else who has it and get in on a game with them. Now, if you really dig this, there is a second expansion, or actually a first expansion, that gives you 10 more cases. And some of those are actually centered around Jack the Ripper. So I'm pumped to play those, but I still have to get through the games we have here. And you know what? If you dig Sherlock Holmes, you dig mysteries, go grab it. I recommend it. Now, if there are any questions or comments, please leave them down below. As always, please hit the like button. It helps me so much, and it costs you $0. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It is also free. That might be changing soon. We might be going to having to sacrifice your firstborn male, but right now it's free, so get in there while you can. And I'll see you next time here on Dungeon Miser. Dungeon Miser out.